the Joan Quinn Profiles. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview, the Los Angeles Herald-Examiner, LA Style, and Detour magazines, Joan covered the social set, the Hollywood hotshots, the international art scene, the mysteries of food, the excitement of travel, and the fabulous world of fashion. Joan continues to find creative people on the cutting edge who make things happen. Here's Joan Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. Our guests in the studio are Mary Setrakian, an actress and singer, and author Mary Lyon. Please stay with us while we talk to them. Actress, singer Mary Setrakian, a native of San Francisco, graduated from Stanford University and holds a master's degree in voice performance from the New England Conservatory. You've seen her in various television and film parts, but you've probably seen her in musicals, on the stage. Mary's lived in New York for over 10 years, where she's been busy off-Broadway. Mary, what did you do off-Broadway?
Off-Broadway, I played in Colette Collage by Jones and Schmidt, Hannah 1939, which was by Bob Merrill and starred Julie Wilson. But when I first arrived in New York, I did a lot of Gilbert and Sullivan and light opera productions.
That's what, were you a big Gilbert and Sullivan fan before, or did you learn it there?
I think I learned it there. I really got my sea legs on that stage through Gilbert and Sullivan.
I think Gilbert and Sullivan, I think the music is so great, and it was so tragic when that closed in London. They closed the whole
the doily
theater.
cart. Yeah.
I was so upset.
Yeah, there's so much humor and beautiful music. Yeah.
The other thing I'm going to go through, you were off Broadway, you were on Broadway, and Hello Dolly.
That's
Tell us about that.
Oh, I got to play with Carol Channing. We did the pre-Broadway tour, and then the whole company moved to Broadway, the Lunt-Fontanne Theater. And I understudied Irene Malloy, and I got to go on, and playing across from Carol Channing was like a dream.
How long was that running?
Let's see, the tour was about a year, and we were several months on Broadway.
Oh, yeah. So you really did have a chance. Did you play certain time? Did you play matinees or certain?
No,
just whenever they needed it.
Whenever they needed me. Flo Lacey was doing the role, and she understudied Carol. So there was one time when Carol never got sick on the tour. She's incredible, but she did get honored that year at the Tonys, and so one of the Sundays, the two performances, Flo took over too. So I got to play with Flo.
I got to move up too.
It was fun.
What do you do in that position? Do you go to the theater every night?
Actually, I was in the chorus every night, singing the high C's.
Oh, so you were. So
Yeah.
you were a part of it every night.
Yeah.
You had different costumes for each thing, obviously.
Yeah. Yes, I had my own costumes for the role, and then through the chorus part, you play all sorts of different roles in the chorus. So it was fun.
So you were on stage every night?
Oh yeah, 8 shows a week.
Woo! Okay, we did opera. Now on tour, you did Les Miserables.
Les Miserables.
Phantom of the Opera.
Phantom of the Opera. I just finished touring for a year as Madame Giry.
Where do you tour?
All throughout the United States, from Seattle and Portland to cities in Florida, through through the middle of the country to St. Louis, all around.
Is it tough?
It's a real tough way to go, but it's really rewarding also. Les Mis, we did a lot of what we call one-weekers. You're in each town for 1 week, so on your day off, you're flying to the next city.
So you never see the city, really, unless you
lot.
go. Do you go out? Can you go out during the day? What time do you have to be at the studio usually, or the theater?
I try to get to the theater usually an hour before when I'm doing chorus work.
So you've known.
So you get a little time to explore. You try, because that's the best part of it. You get to kind of city shop throughout the country.
Is there anything you take with you, particularly when you're on tour?
That's a good question. I like to take little scarves and little pictures to try to make home in every hotel room that you're in.
I know, that's what people say. Does it really make a difference?
It does. Just personal items that you can make feel like home. Yeah, it makes a big difference.
You, have I left out any other touring ones?
Well, let's see, Phantom, Les Mis, and Hello Dolly. Les Mis, I played 12 roles as an understudy. I was a swing.
You're kidding.
So that was quite a feat. I wasn't on stage every night for that. I just came in and
Did you fill those roles all the time?
All the time, yeah. All the time.
Somebody, especially traveling every
Sometimes
week.
two at once, yeah.
I mean, people how do they keep up with it?
Yeah, you have to really, really guard your health and, keep working out, find a gym, drink a lot of water.
The one thing that you did was a world tour of Evita, what I've always wanted, the role, Evita role.
Again, I understudied that role and got to perform it several times, and what a treat.
Did it move you?
Oh,
I mean, were you
so
like...
much. We did it in Germany, and the German audiences just loved it. They were terrific, and also in Paris.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, it was really a thrill. Really a thrill.
Did you have to do anything special for that you wouldn't have done for another role?
I think for that role, it's a lot like my one-woman show. It's very intense. It's such a big singing and so much movement and the acting is so important. So I really have to concentrate on getting yourself prepared for that.
You were actually up against, movies were out by that time probably. Were the movies out? There were a lot of movies about Evita.
Oh, right. No, it was a little bit prior to that.
It was just before. Have I left anything out?
No, that's everything.
I'm getting to your one-woman show,
yes.
which is also something that's pretty incredible. 95 minutes on stage.
Yeah, yeah.
Right in the limelight the whole time. How does an actress do that?
You really have to have as much support as you can. My pianist is on stage with me. He's so incredibly important to me because that's kind of the wave that you're riding on. He really is there with you.
I've seen a lot of one-person shows. I think they're fabulous, and I think people who do it are just, I don't know how they do it, but there's all different ways to do it. Through lighting, through choreography, through props. Yours is through song, more or less, but it includes all the things I just mentioned.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about it and how you wrote it. Okay. You wrote it.
That's right.
And performed it.
That's right.
Okay.
I workshopped it in a Monday night acting workshop with my teacher Susan Batson's class. This workshop started from 6 p.m. and usually go till 4 or 5 in the morning at times. It was very intense work, but really wonderful.
Where was that in New York?
In New York. And what I had an idea, from the very beginning, it was a possible cabaret, medley for cabaret. And then I kept bringing it back, and I got this idea to take my eclectic repertoire and string it together to make a script for this love story. And so I sing literally from opera, pop, Broadway, rock and roll, jazz, a little bit of rap, all strung together, sometimes 2 measures, sometimes 4 measures, sometimes a whole song to tell the story. And I want the audience to be like a fly on the wall and looking into the woman's space and really have it really be an intimate piece.
Were they favorite songs of yours? How did you actually pick them up? I mean, there's 60 songs, aren't there?
Over 60 songs. I think almost every single one of the songs in the show I've lived with for a long time. So when I was writing the script or trying to figure out how I would tell the story, it just kind of would come up out of me. And the words would say, I want to say this right now, and then the song would hit, that kind of thing.
Well, back up a little bit to cabaret. Could you do this in cabaret just with the songs?
It's such an acted piece. That's how I really worked on it. I really worked on it as an actress. And because I have so much technique vocally and all that, I just really wanted to just focus on what is the actor, what is the character doing right now, really getting into her world. So I don't know if I don't think it would.
We left out one thing. You also play the flute on stage. I mean, a musician, aerobics. You do aerobics, you play the flute, you act, you sing opera to punk, whatever, how many things. And have you left anything out? You eat.
I eat.
Do you actually eat? Do you actually eat and sing at the same time?
I don't know. It's something I just can do. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I sing, and I'm told that you can hear every word as I'm completely stuffing my face.
I think one of the reviews from the Coast Playhouse was that she's doing aerobics and she's eating at the same time, and she hasn't lost her breath.
Well, I have a trainer. I have a trainer in New York who helped me choreograph the aerobics section and the rap, and thank God for him, because you have to get in shape for this. So he really helped me with that.
Certain breaths that you have to take, or certain?
Yeah, I think it's part of practice, and just because I'm a swimmer and because I play the flute and all those things, I think it's something that I've been able to work on through the years.
That's right. I heard you breathing more playing the flute than when you were doing your aerobics.
Wow, that could be. I started playing the flute when I was a young woman, and I was really going to be a flutist, and then I really discovered the stage, and I thought I have to do this. So I don't practice as much as I used to, but now I am. And in fact, I just had a flute lesson yesterday.
Did you? I saw a play off Broadway, The Mother and Daughter. forgot the name of it. But anyway, she does the push-ups.
Oh, okay.
The mother does the push-ups. And then the daughter gets down and does the push-ups. And I was thinking, how can these people get so in shape? And then I saw you doing the whole aerobics thing. And I mean, how does this happen?
I think divinity comes through. You just sort of pray and you go to another place that you don't even know you can go to.
One of the things, I'm going to show a roll-in from the show, and then we'll talk some more about what you can do. Do you know what, you want to set it up?
Maddie, the character, is in her apartment and just got back from a date on Valentine's Day, and she's trying to decide whether to call Bill or not. She wants to call him and find out why did he drop her at the door.
Okay,
so,
we'll see that. Okay. Mary Setrakian. Tell me, how do you dance around in your bare feet? How do you change your clothes? How do you get your shoes back on?
Oh, it's all in the choreography. I don't know. You have to rehearse every moment, and then it just happens.
And it just does anything flub up? What if your cornflakes are your Cocoa Pops? What do you
know what
drink?
I did one night? I brought out the cereal. I was pouring. I forgot to pour the milk, and then I was eating the cereal, and I had the driest mouth, and it was the scariest thing because I couldn't swallow. So it does. Mistakes can happen.
You take the knife and you smash that banana, and I'm thinking, does she know what she's doing? Is a finger gonna go?
I'm very clear. Yeah, right, very clear. Believe me. And I set up every single prop myself, and before the show. And there's 60 songs. I think there must be about 60 props.
So how long does that take you?
It takes me a couple hours, an hour.
And you do it because
I have to know exactly where it is. I mean, literally, if you turn it the wrong way, it can make my whole feeling about it, when I pick it up, it can be all wrong, and then I'm in trouble.
The show has been in Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, North Carolina, and the thing that amazes me is part of the show is a soundtrack of you at 3.5 years old.
Wow, when I was a kid with my 3 brothers, both my parents are musical. But
they are?
Yeah, and my dad would sit down with us with a microphone, and we would sing together. And I have these incredible audio tapes, and I was trying to find a way to use them, and it was just perfect. It's like the daughter-father relationship, singing around the mic, and then the woman grows up and has to make her own relationship.
But he saved them.
Yeah,
he saved them all.
I've been an incredible father.
Does he work as a musician?
He did through college, and then he was in the wine industry with my grandfather, with his father.
And your mother?
My mother, she always sang with a guitar and stuff, and she doesn't.
So they're musical.
Yeah, very
because
musical.
Your family's very artistic. You have an artistic brother, a painter.
And then my youngest brother makes monsters for movies.
Monsters, the monster maker.
And my oldest brother's a writer, but he's also the brilliant businessman. So we have everything there.
Yeah, your family was really lucky.
I'm very lucky.
And I'm lucky to have you with us. Thank you so much for being with me today. And good luck on New York Romance.
Thank you so much.
We'll be right back. Don't go away, because Mary Lyon will be with us next. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and we're back with author-reporter Mary Lyon, who received a bachelor's degree in studio art from the University of California in Irvine. I don't know how she's gotten from studio arts into journalism, but she enjoyed a long, award-winning career in television and radio, And now she's back to the arts again. How'd you get into the electric media?
Well, let me tell you, I was coming out of college, and college radio, okay, that's my biggest advice I would give anybody. Pick a college that has a studio set up, a broadcasting facility, where you can actually go on the air and learn by making mistakes and being brilliant and being semi-brilliant. And I realized as graduation time was coming that I wasn't as sure I could make a go of it as a commercial artist as I might be able to do on the radio. And right about that time, the FCC stepped in and put out a call to all the radio and TV stations in the country, this was in the mid-70s, saying, it's time to start hiring more women. So I came from college with 4 years on the air experience, and I got right in.
You just went right on the air when you got to college?
Yes.
What were you doing in the art department?
Majoring in art, painting pictures, learning graphic arts, design, etc., which I never dreamed I would come back all the way around to.
I know, but at the time, did you think you could make a living as a graphic artist, a commercial artist?
Well, I thought so in the beginning when I first started in college, because I had a long history through grammar school and high school of being the resident illustrator or the resident artist or the resident set designer. You know, whatever they needed graphic arts for, they always seemed to come to me.
And you could do it.
And I'd just do it. And so I figured, well, that's one career path I might be able to take. And but then I discovered the lovely microphone and, and the little, the tally light on the camera.
Me.
There you are. The rest is history.
You get very ego motivated, don't you? Unfortunately, it's really amazing.
Yes. Yes, I have seen the on-air light take away, you wouldn't believe it, cramps, fights with your husband, baby crying, mother-in-law, you name it. However bad you're feeling, when that mic goes on or the camera goes on, all of a sudden, it's showtime and I'm wonderful, or at least I feel that way.
It's a new life,
yes,
isn't it?
It's something. And then when the mic goes off, you're back down into the pit. But
okay, so then you're back into the pit. Now
yes.
We're back to this book that you wrote.
Yes.
How could a book be born? In the pit?
How nice of you to say born, because the title is The Frazzled Working Woman's Practical Guide to Motherhood.
Let me hold it here.
I lived this for a while when I was at my last, broadcasting job with the Associated Press. I was an entertainment reporter for 9 years for the radio network. And during that time, I discovered pregnancy. Not once, but twice. And I learned in the field the hard way, without any advice, how to lug around with my audio equipment a large belly, and then a beeper and a phone system that tied me to my husband as well as to my assignment desk and to the nanny or the babysitter or the grandma or
while you
whatever.
were working?
Yes.
I see.
There's a cliche that babies don't come with instruction manuals, and they sure don't. And I would have given anything to have one, because I grew up with no small siblings. There were no babies or small children in the neighborhood. I did not do any babysitting. I was sort of kind of a unit in and of myself. And being very career driven and satisfied with my career for maybe 20 some odd years, it hadn't really occurred to me until I reached a certain age, and I thought, gee, if I'm going to do this, I better try to do it now, because I'm running out of time.
Actually, what you just said and the way you described everything is the perfect title, right? The Frazzled Working
Woman's Practical Guide to Motherhood. You usually say frazzled motherhood. They go, oh yeah, I can relate.
The Frazzled Woman's
Working Woman's
the Frazzled Working Woman's. That's
yes.
where I left out the Working Woman's.
Please don't leave out the working.
No.
Yes.
I see. The Working Woman's Guide to Motherhood. And
yes.
It's been illustrated by someone we know too.
By me.
I can't believe this. Let's just tell me about this part, because I thought this was really fun.
That was inspired by an anecdote which continues on the next page, where I was with a longtime girlfriend of mine who had been my mother confessor for a while, because her babies were about 1.5 years older than mine. So she had this step taken just before I got there.
And what is this? This is whining with dinner.
And we were at some big picnic, and she said, "Would you care for a little white wine?" And I said, "No, I have 2 already." And everybody fell on the floor laughing, and I thought, hey, I can maybe use that.
W-H-I-N-Es. W-H-I-N whiners at home, right?
Yes.
Well, did you have trouble, once you sat down to write the book, did you have trouble remembering all of these things, or were you keeping a diary along the way?
Yes. I kept a diary with the proverbial little scraps of paper that writers tend to, or screenwriters or songwriters write little notes to themselves on.
Right.
And I had all this stuff in my reporter's notebooks, and I had lots of stuff that was quite memorable. That Nan, I'm going to be able to use this. This is material for me in one way or another.
But what advice do you have as far as keeping notes for someone who would be doing something like this? Because this is really filled. I mean, you can open it up anywhere, and it's like problems that everyone has.
Yes, well, my biggest piece of advice for any woman who's combining job and motherhood is don't let yourself get stressed. Don't worry about all those other women you see out there around you who undoubtedly are doing it far better than you are. Baloney! They're not, they're just acting the part like I was when the mic went on and I'd had problems all night.
That's great.
And just, don't put that on yourself, because you're gonna make mistakes, and no matter what you do, and you know what? They all do too.
So you didn't have trouble remembering. The best advice is to just keep doing.
Because some of this stuff was really vivid. Like, how could you forget being on the phone trying to set up an interview with some major celebrity, with some fellow at a music, record company or whatever, and you just got up. You're working at home, so you didn't feel the need to dress up,
Right.
And, so I'm in my little studio making this call, and my then 3-year-old son comes walking in and saying, "Mommy, I see your underwear." You're not going to forget that.
Exactly.
And you're also going to be very glad you didn't have a speakerphone.
That's one of the things you call Planet Baby. Probably. Tell
It's
us
a whole new
little
world. It's a new world. These were alien life forms
There
to
you
me.
are, right.
I love them to pieces, my children, but I didn't know what to expect. And all of the books that were out there already told you wonderful things about taking the baby from the bottle, and from the breast to the bottle, and from the bottle to food, and all the rest of this. Nobody told me or could give me advice or show me advice about what to do if there's a boss in there, and deadlines, or assignments, or clients, or meetings.
I think this illustration answers or talks about all the things you're saying.
There you are, working
juggling,
mom.
right? Juggling everything.
That harkens back to the old Ed Sullivan show. Remember the guy, the acrobat who always came out with the sticks and the plates and the saber, the dance playing in the background furiously, and you're a nervous wreck by the time he gets to one end, because the plate on the other end is about to crash.
Exactly, that's what this is.
And every plate has something else on it that's about to crash.
And you have to just keep them all going.
You have to keep them all going, and you find ways. There is a way. There is a way to have it all, just not at the exact same time. There is a way to get it right, more or less. There is a way not to feel too guilty. It's not perfect, but you can get sort of within the boundaries of it. You can get close.
We're going to seg you from the mother making the eggs for the baby into the shaker eggs. What are these?
Segue.
I can't believe, yes.
Well, those came from, actually, I have one of the earliest eggs I ever made, which does nothing but look pretty.
It was very pretty.
It was a decorative, I work in polymer clay, which I make beads with, and I make jewelry, and I took a class in how to do decorative eggs. And my husband was working with a colleague of his one night who built studio cabinetry and things for musicians and stuff. And he had all these little plastic shaker eggs. They were little percussion instruments.
Oh, I've seen those. They're actually instruments.
Yes, they're little like maracas without a handle.
Right.
And my husband spent the entire night playing with those instead of his friend's computer. And he came home and he said, those eggs you make? And I said, yes. And he said, could you put something in them to make them shake?
This doesn't shake.
And that was one of the just decorative ones.
The first one doesn't shake.
The later ones do.
Are they actual eggs?
They're actual eggs that you'd start out with as you would with an Easter basket.
I love this.
They are blown, flushed thoroughly and air dried for many days. So, you know, a year and a half from now, I don't want this thing to
Where's
start smelling.
the big hole? Right here?
The big hole is usually underneath where my signature is, and one of my clients, who was a very serious collector, encouraged me to start numbering these. So the number is down there too. And they sort of sit by themselves because that's how they sit in the oven with all of this stuff in it that weighs them down just so. And the stuff could be beads, ball bearings, birdshot, you know, whatever you have.
Put different things in it.
Depends
But it has to
on,
fit in that little hole.
Well, the little hole doesn't have to be so little. You just cover it up.
And then you have gold nuggets.
Yes, I invented a technique for making gold nuggets with this polymer clay, which is a relatively new medium. And I entered a competition with them, and the beads were among the winners, and the winners all got into the permanent collection of the Bead Museum in Prescott, Arizona.
Oh, how divine.
So I'm jazzed.
You have
and
those. What about these?
Those are little, those are sort of,
They look like
where is it?
candies.
Uh-huh.
You started in the beginning with these.
That's right. In the beginning was the flower.
And then you then when did you get to the thing around your neck?
This was, these were some of the earliest beads I made, and the necklace was around so long that the cord that I used stretched, and I didn't want to restring it, and so I just started tying things in between, and I liked the look, and so I used regular beads and beads that I had made, and it just depends. What am I wearing today? What don't I have to go with it? What can I whip up in a few hours?
You are the really ultimate whipper-upper.
Yeah.
Now, before we leave, you have the guide.
We
have to leave. You know what happens.
Okay.
You have the guide for that frazzled woman.
Yes.
Could it be made into a sitcom? Is that what you're thinking about?
That'd be cool. Oh, from your mouth to Aaron Spelling's ears.
Okay. Have you thought about it?
I've thought about lots of things.
What about a movie?
A movie, a cartoon strip, a column. It will grow. It's seeds right now.
Where do you think? What are you thinking of doing next?
I'm kicking around a frazzled working man's practical guide to fatherhood.
Oh, you are.
Or how to do business with baby barf on your business suit.
Listen, I think you can do sitcoms forever. Finish with the mother and then start on the father.
And then we'll have to do the grandmother and the auntie twice removed and all the third cousin. Mary
Lyon, thanks for being with us.
I love this. This is so much fun,
You were so
Joan.
great.
Bless
Thank
your
you.
heart.
Really great.
Don't
Thank
get too
you.
frazzled.
No, I try not to. I'm going to say goodbye right now and play with her shaker eggs, Mary Lyon shaker eggs, and finish reading the book. But please continue to write to us at 777 South Figueroa, 40th floor, 917. And we'll see you next time on the Joan Quinn Profiles. So that was...
It's just this.